Okay, hey everybody, what's up? I have recorded and re-recorded this like 60 times, but I never get back to it at all. I'm just like, nah, maybe next time. But today, I'm going to do it. Today is the day. I can feel it. So, I have a lot of life updates because I haven't posted in well over a year and a half now, maybe closer to 2 years. It is currently, I wanted to say March, it's actually July. Red light. Okay, it is July 2020. Oh no, I closed my hair in my window. It's July 2020, which means there is a lot going on, as I'm sure you know, because of the coronavirus. If you don't know, it's a pandemic worldwide, and it's a total disaster. So, I'm actually gonna start like from where I left off. The last time I vlogged, I was a senior. I was about to go into my last semester of college at Rockport. And I'm pretty sure I was doing Vlogmas. So after Vlogmas, obviously I had my finals. I went home for the winter break. It was a very chill winter break. I didn't do anything. And then I came back in January and I finished off my year and my degree in English literature with a minor in film studies. And I graduated magna cum laude from SUNY Brock. After graduation, I actually lived in DC for the summer. So I left in June of last year and I was there until early August. So I was there a couple months. I was actually working at Georgetown University with students. I was working with high schoolers that were taking college level courses at Georgetown University through a summer program initiative thing for high school students interested in college level courses. That was amazing. I had an amazing summer. I met so many great people from around the US and around the world, and I loved every second of it. It was the hottest summer of my life, being on a literal swamp, but it was also extremely rewarding and a ton of fun. So that was awesome. Summer 2019, Georgetown. Now I actually have to run into the store, so I will be right back. That was way more complicated than it needed to be. And it's so hot. I got one school supply, and it was this divider pocket holder. And then I got sunscreen because we're going on the boat this weekend. And I got razors because we're going on the boat this weekend. And then I moved bobby pins. And this is where I got so annoyed because this pack of bobby pins, same packaging, same container that it comes in black, was $1.95 or something. And then the same thing in like a bronze, which would match my hair better, was $2.50. So it's 50 cents more. In February of 2019, I decided that I would be going, what are you doing? I decided that I would be going to Syracuse University for higher education, a master's program. Okay. I decided I would be going to Syracuse University for their master's program of higher education. And shortly thereafter, my boyfriend Darren got a job also at Syracuse University working in their athletics department. and doing tickets for games. So with that being said, at that point we were dating for 2 years, and we figured it would make more sense. We would be living in the same city for the first time in our whole relationship. We would save money by living together rather than us both paying for our own places. So we decided we would move in together in August when I got back from DC, because it wouldn't make sense for him to pay for the apartment all summer by himself. So he moved to Syracuse from Buffalo in March of last year, and he ended up staying with his parents while I was in DC. I was in DC, obviously, so I was living there. And while I was in DC, he was apartment hunting in Syracuse for the two of us. So he was touring the places on his own. He was asking all the questions on his own and explaining our situation, which was really difficult because I'm the more outgoing, talkative one, and he is not. So it was really hard being in DC, being hundreds of miles away and not being able to help with that whole thing. So he did end up finding us a place, and it was a great place. The only downside, and I mean the only downside, is that we cannot have pets of any kind, like no lizards, no fish, no cats, no dogs, nothing. It is so hot in my car. So that was literally the only downside of the place. We got our application put in, all the good stuff. And when I got back from DC, I was home for 2 days, and then I came out to sign the lease and get the keys. And then I was here for like a day or two. Then we went back to Buffalo for a camping trip. And while we were in Buffalo, we packed up all my stuff. We rented a U-Haul. I was home another 2 or 3 days, maybe. Darren had to come back because he had to work. And then midweek, my dad and I drove out here with a U-Haul full of my stuff. So I live in Syracuse now, which is quite the update. But I moved here in August of last year. We've been here almost a year now. We just signed our updated lease. I obviously had my first year of my master's program, and it was going really well. I did struggle a little bit just because it felt so different from undergrad, and it is so different from undergrad. And then things really turned when the pandemic hit in March, and all of my classes got moved to online. I'm gonna go inside because it's hot. Okay, I'm back. I am on my floor. This is my bed. So, moved here, did the first semester of my master's program while working a part-time retail job near campus in order to maintain funds, in order to pay for rent, and that was my only job. And that first semester was kind of hard because I was adjusting. I was living with my boyfriend for the first time. I was working a new job, and it was just a lot to take in. We were shifting everything. So in the second semester of my program, I was required to do my first practicum experience, which is essentially an internship, just a different set amount of hours. By definition, internship and practicum just have different hours that are required. So I was doing my practicum. I was doing it at Syracuse University. I was working with the Orange After Dark programming, which was in the Office of Student Activities. And my role there was to make sure that events that were already planned were running smoothly, to work with students to help plan upcoming events that needed specific details as we got closer, and to just be an extra set of hands in the office and to help out with those things. So it was going really well. My two big programs that I was in charge of getting everything together for were coming up. I had to shadow one, and then the next one would be my big one. So the ones I shadowed were both in February, and then my big ones were right after spring break in March. So the week before spring break, we were planning things. I was meeting with my student that was helping me, and we were just getting ready for post-spring break so that we wouldn't have to do a lot during spring break. That week and the week leading to it, like the 2 weeks before spring break, were when things got to the US and things did get kind of crazy. So we had, for my program, we had our open house where we bring in students that are interested in the program and we tell them all the logistics and get them ready for it. And that day was kind of when things got more serious to me. We all had hand sanitizer, no one shook hands, and we were kind of making, I don't want to say a joke out of it, but we're fooling around, like we were doing the elbows instead of shaking hands, and it was kind of this lingering thing that we spoke of but didn't really take super seriously. So at the end of that day, I had said to one of my professors, oh, maybe I'll see you in Florida, because I was going to Florida for spring break, and so was she. We were both going for spring training for baseball. I'll get into that in a minute. So I'd said, maybe I'll see you in Florida, and she was like, haha, maybe, can't wait, whatever. And then I was talking with second years in the program, and one of them had said, it only makes sense that graduation's not happening, you know, all this stuff is coming, and you know, none of my graduations have ever gone right. And I was like, no, this is gonna be your first graduation that goes right, it'll be all good. And then it wasn't. So that was, I want to say like a Monday or Tuesday, and then Thursday, March 12th, I will not forget this day, it was Darren's birthday, and I had to work at my retail job all day. I think I worked like 10 to 3 or something, maybe 9 to 3, and it was right near campus. During my lunch break, I ordered him a cookie cake from Insomnia Cookies because it was his birthday. And while I was at this store, we always have ESPN going, especially being in a college town like Syracuse and the commitment people have to Syracuse University athletics. It's really big. So we always have ESPN going, and we were getting into March Madness. So there was college basketball on. And as we're sitting there watching this, me and myself and my boss, slowly the games start getting canceled. They're walking out onto the court, and then they get called back into the locker room. They're in the middle of the game, and then they get called back into the locker room. NBA started canceling. It was very weird. So while this is all going on, obviously it's hard to focus on work when you see all these big things happening that could affect you. And basically our eyes were glued to the TV watching all of this. I was keeping an eye on Disney because while we were in Florida, our plans were, we were gonna leave on the 17th, which was St. Patrick's Day. We're gonna leave that morning, hang out, meet up with Darren's family in Florida that evening. The next morning, we were going to drive a little bit further south, go to Mets spring training for 2 days, see my family while we were down there, drive back up to Orlando area, go to Disney World for the day. Saturday, our last day, would be just whatever we wanted, depending on how we felt, and then we were going to leave on that Sunday. And then Darren was going to go back to work on Monday. So that Thursday, before this all happened, I was keeping a very close eye on Disney. And I kept saying, I'm not canceling my trip unless they close Disney World. While I was at work, Disneyland closed, and I thought it was only a matter of time. But I still had my hopes up. So after work, I went and got the cookie I had ordered for Darren. It was a very normal day other than the news. And then I went to my class. We had our discussions, we had our presentations, we talked about the coronavirus, And then we said, we'll see you after spring break. Hope everyone has a good break. And I have not seen any of my classmates since then, which has been very weird and a little bit difficult because I did find a good support system in my classmates, and not seeing them kind of, I don't want to say it ruins the support system, but it ruins like the flow of the support system, because, you know, you had this routine where you would see each other and talk to each other and what you would talk about, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're not seeing each other anymore, and so it's hard to kind of keep up with everything. So that evening we went out to dinner for Darren's birthday. We went to Texas de Brazil, and while we were at dinner is when Disney World closed. And so while we're at Darren's birthday dinner celebrating him, we're also like finding out our trip is gonna be canceled that we had been planning, and so that was hard. I was very upset because I really needed this break from school. And so, you know, we still did the birthday things, and, you know, we said goodbye and everything was normal. And that weekend we decided we would go home. Since we weren't gonna get the spring break we had planned for, we may as well go to Buffalo and hang out with some friends. So we left Saturday morning and we hung out with Darren's college friends. We went out to eat, we got wings, we had drinks, you know, it was a good night. And then we decided we would stay at my mom's house. And the next morning when we got up, the governor was making an announcement. And at this time, Darren was told that if he was in any county that was under a state of emergency, he would need to quarantine for 2 weeks and he would not be allowed to come back to work. So this was the 15th. And he was already off that whole week, but he would need to quarantine another week. And he wanted to go back to work, obviously. So while we were at my mom's in Erie County in Buffalo, Cuomo made the announcement that in like 15 minutes, Erie County would be in a state of emergency. So we packed up all our stuff as fast as we could. We put it in the car. We decided to go to my dad's, which is in a different county. It's in Niagara County. And I think they border one another. Honestly, not sure. I don't really pay attention. They're not that far from each other. But we knew we needed to get out of Erie County. So we said goodbye to my mom and we skedaddled. While we were in Erie County, Cuomo made the announcement that he was going to be having another press conference at 2. And we were like, he's going to issue a state of emergency. Like, we can't go out to eat right now. But at this point, Darren was like, I'm not even worried about it. So we went out to eat. He issued another state of emergency. We ate anyways, and then we just went home from there, from the restaurant. And it felt like we were just kind of moving from county to county to get out of it. And then it turned out it didn't even really matter, because Darren was then, by the next day, they were put on work from home orders. So the day before we were supposed to go on our trip, Darren got word that they would be working from home, and basically they had a half day. He was not at work, he was at home on vacation still. They had a half day, and then they got sent home with computers to set up. Darren and I were like, oh, let's have one last hurrah, because they were announced they were closing all bars and restaurants that night. So we went out to eat for lunch, and we were gonna go bowling. And then I thought, I know we want one last hurrah, but is it really smart to go bowling right now? So we did not go bowling. We went out to eat, and then we came home. And at this time, we weren't wearing masks. It wasn't a thing. Darren's stepmom and his dad had just gotten back from California, And so they were quarantining, they were taking it really seriously, they were really ahead of it. They wouldn't let anyone near them. They had masks. They brought us masks. And when we got them, we were kind of like, we're never gonna wear these. Little did we know. So since then, so after that, my practicum did virtual programming, which was very difficult, but also gave me more to do as the intern because I was able to plan an event from beginning to end and see it through. I was in a lot more meetings because I wasn't really on a time constriction anymore. I wasn't working, and I was able to just pop into a meeting whenever necessary because they were all virtual. And Darren has been home, working from home ever since. At first they said 2 weeks, and then after the 2 weeks they said another 2 weeks, and it has now been 4 months. So there is no word on when they will go back. I finished all of my schoolwork up in April. We had an end of the year banquet virtually. It's very strange. And it's just been weird. Oh, also, for the summer, I was scheduled to work at another college working as a graduate assistant or graduate intern for their summer orientation program. Summer orientation is like what got me into this field and what made me want to work in higher education. And so being able to be the graduate intern for one of these programs, I was over the moon excited. I was originally also going to be working with the woman who was my boss when I was an orientation leader. So she would still be my boss, but I would be working alongside her as a graduate intern instead of as a student worker. So I was very excited. After getting the job, I found out she was leaving, which was fine. I was still gonna work the job. It was just gonna be one less familiar face, which I would figure out. And then we went into quarantine, and she told me that they would attempt to find something for me to do, even if they were virtual. And then once they kind of switched over to the other person was like, we have nothing that we can do for you or that you can do for us. I was like, okay, cool. So that obviously didn't happen and isn't going to happen to my knowledge. So that was all the bad stuff that quarantine brought. And we've just been in quarantine. And honestly, for me personally, it's been difficult because I am a very much like, I need to talk to people. I need to have that social interaction. And so not having anything to do, not being able to see people was really difficult to cope with. I had nothing to keep me busy, nothing to distract me. And it was just hard. I did end up getting a Nintendo Switch, which I didn't think I would ever do, but in May I ended up getting a Switch secondhand from someone else. Best decision I ever made because I was able to distract myself a little bit better and play games and talk to other people that were playing those games. That is how I coped with the quarantine. Now that we're getting closer to the school year, I have been trying to plan out my semester. It's been a little bit more interesting, I guess. New school supplies have been coming out. I was able to buy my pocket folder. The good thing that quarantine brought is the opportunity that I didn't think that I would get during my graduate school program. So for a lot of programs, they have graduate assistants, and at Syracuse University specifically, being a graduate assistant means you get paid to do your work, obviously, and then in addition to that, you have your tuition paid for. That was like a dream. So last year, when I was applying into the program, I was trying to get one of those, but I decided that even if I didn't, I would still go to SU because it's such a big, well-known school and has a really good program. Being the summer before my second year, I didn't think that one was going to just fall upon me, and I kind of accepted that. And then I got an email from my advisor asking to chat, and so we had a Zoom call set up and we were chatting, and she told me that an assistantship had opened up, and it was very unlikely that this would work out the way that it did. Usually the person in this position is a PhD student, but the person that was in it when I was in my first year was leaving to do a different job, and they had lined someone up to come and do it, and that person had asked to defer for a year for that position, which meant there would be this big gap year in my second year as a master's student. And so that position was offered to me. I am so grateful that it worked out the way that it did. My second year will be covered financially with this assistantship. I am over the moon excited. I've had a lot of time to process it, so I'm not gonna cry like I did when I found out. So I will be working that, and that is 20 hours a week. And then in addition to that, I have my second practicum experience at Lemoyne College. I will be working with their Higher Educational Opportunity Program as well as AHANA on campus, and that's another 10 hours. So I'll be working 30 hours next semester, which is fine. I need something to keep me busy after this month long quarantine. And then I will also be taking classes. So that should catch you up to my life. Basically, this coming semester, if you break my grad school program into, if you call the semesters years, this will be my junior year of the program, and I will be doing a practicum, which comes with a class. I don't know how to explain it. It's a class to discuss your practicum with other students that are doing their practicum elsewhere in order to get a better understanding of what's going on in the world of higher ed. And then I will be and that is in person, the practicum, but my classes are all online. Syracuse University has decided to do in-person classes as of now. However, my program has decided to keep the classes online as one less contact point for potential infection. I will be doing my classes online, potentially my grad assistantship with SU online. That is still TBD. And then I will be doing an in-person practicum as of now at Lemoyne College. So I am very excited for what the next semester holds. It is going to be extremely busy, but I am very excited. There's a lot of opportunity for growth and change and learning, and I'm so excited. So that is my life update. I know that it's long. I'm hoping that I can edit it to be a lot shorter. Yeah, that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to be posting more videos very soon, I hope. I would really like to start posting videos again because it's just one more person to talk to and everything's virtual anyways. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.